And the following things that I'm about to say, I don't want them to be perceived as hateful criticism of things that are happening locally in terms of organizing, but I think we can all recognize that up until this last election, there has been a complete void of real organizing within our community. Now, there are some very, very dedicated activists in our hometown, but we would be lying to ourselves if we didn't admit that the Republican machine is a lot more powerful than we are, and they have a lot more numbers. And so I want to stress today the importance of doing something that each of these two powerful women have already talked about, which is engaging with community members. I talked about this a lot on the campaign trail, but the messages that Sherry is trying to get out, the messages that Lori has tried to get out, and that I have tried to get out, are meaningless and nothing but virtue signaling unless that message is actually reaching voters. And that means we have to go door to door if possible. We need to be spreading the message on social media. We need to be talking to our family members. And speaking to some of my friends outside of the state who are really into organizing, especially those on the East Coast, one thing they say is you have to break your fellow Kansans out of this Midwest politeness mindset. We are at a point in our country where we can't be so polite about people's rights. We can't be polite about community members disappearing because they're being taken by ICE and sent off to other countries. Of course, there are moments where you can have those conversations with people, but we need to stand firm and be very vocal about our beliefs. And those beliefs, I don't think, are very crazy. I think all of us want pretty much the same things. We want good jobs. We want jobs with dignity. We want to be paid a living wage. I think a lot of us probably want health care. These aren't crazy ideas. And when we communicate with our community members about these issues and we actually ignore party labels, you'll find that people who call themselves Republicans believe pretty much the same things that we do. I mean, of course, except for the extremely openly racist ones, some of them that are running for city council right now. But in addition, so I think you guys get the point. I hate that cliche that's this year is the most important election of your lives. But straight up, this might actually be the one. This might be the last legitimate election that we have. And I am saying that to scare you because I hope it will motivate everyone here to participate in whatever capacity you can. Whether that's postcard writing, sharing every single post that Sherry has on social media, showing up to every single event that she has. You have to do it because there is so much at stake. And I think that's a pretty good transition into what I really want to talk about next, which is something that's also really scary and ties into the consolidation of power that we're seeing at the state level. We all recognize that at the national level, we're seeing the complete destruction of our administrative state in any type of service that benefits working class people. It's awful, and it's terrifying, and it's going to come to the state of Kansas. We've already seen it with Brownback, and Republicans are really dead set on making it a reality in Kansas once again. So besides these electoral races that we have and supporting candidates, we need to be mobilizing people and making people knowledgeable of the 2026 primary in August of this next year. It's an extremely important date because Republicans this last session voted to put on the ballot this referendum which would change the way our Supreme Court justices in Kansas are selected. Currently, we operate under a system where we have a panel of 5 attorneys and 4 residents from across the state who make very informed recommendations to the governor, who then selects from that list, and that person becomes a Supreme Court justice. Now, Republicans don't like this. They don't think it's fair because, well, right now they don't currently have control of the governor's office. They might change their tune if they ever get that power, but their plan is to change that in the interim so that we can politicize our Supreme Court elections. What they would prefer is that citizens vote on this. And they're using this argument that's essentially a Trojan horse. They're trying to tell people that, oh, it's democratic to elect our Supreme Court justices. We elect, or we vote for our representatives, and we vote for our senators, those in the legislature. So why wouldn't it be democratic to also vote for our Supreme Court justices? But don't be fooled by this, and you need to tell people not to be fooled by this. If this were to pass, what it does is invite millions or tens of millions of dollars in outside influence and money. And it would completely allow for the consolidation of power and destroy any checks and balances we have in this state. Right now, Republicans have a supermajority in the legislature, and they have for like the last 12 years or so. If they have the governorship and the legislature, and then the Supreme Court, because Republican money is coming in from outside of the state, your right, women's right, to choose and make their own healthcare decisions is going to be up in the air again. Something that we voted on in 2022. And that goes for any other thing that Republicans don't like. I mean, if they're not able, even if they are able to overturn it with their supermajority, at least at this point, we have a very moderate Supreme Court panel that allows us to have like a fighting chance of that legislation that potentially harms people from being overturned. But if this is to pass in August of 2026, we're going to have some very serious problems, and there won't be any checks on the supermajority in the legislature. So again, this isn't just about individual candidates. This is about additional serious issues that we all need to be motivated to organize around. And it is, it's really, really scary, but I want to encourage everyone today to use this as a motivation. Talk to your neighbors, talk to your family members. We need to really, really begin thinking very strategically about the things that we can do to get people out to vote so that we don't lose our democracy any more than we already have. And with that, I don't want to continue rambling here. I really want this to be a conversation. If you have any questions for me, please ask them, but I think today more than anything is about Sherry, our present candidate, who do amazing work, and of course Lori and all of the work that Lori has done. And to all of you, like, this is the first step, showing up, showing that you care about your community and your state and your country. And I look forward to hearing from you all, and hope to see you tomorrow.